being so passionate about the craft. I don't know how to do it any other way. It's not so much about how long it took. This wasn't gonna happen. So the fact that it's happening is a gift.
What's up, y'all?
What's up?
Good? What's good?
Man, I think it's been, what, like 2012 maybe?
2012.
13, 12? We really started kicking it?
I would say, but I mean, you know, are we in the club?
Before that, right?
Okay,
I
yeah.
know, right?
If we
that's
in the
like,
club, we
that's
gotta
like
go a
08,
little
07. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you was in the club with us
Yeah,
before we started really working together.
for sure.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Dang, so that's like 15?
Yeah,
That's like 15 years,
15
right?
years.
I'm humbled to be with you guys. I mean, you don't know, but like, I finished college, started grad school, it was like, you know, early 2000s, '02, and, you know, put into Clipse, right? I'm in Chicago, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life, right? And it's in the intro hits, and it talks about, you know, I tried to do it this way, but this 9 to 5 just might not be like for me. And like the spirit of the album, it has such an impact on me.
I think that's a good parallel to draw because I feel like that's always been what the Clipse has been about, just making aspirational music. Whatever it is that you're into and whatever it is that you're hustling to get, it's not so center focused on just drugs and illegal whatever. It's for everybody. It's for everybody's hustle. It's everybody's motivation. It's everybody's aspiration. You know, just to hear you talk about it, like, man, you know, you in Chicago and you figuring it out, and you with people from all different walks of life. But to hear that the album was the backdrop for the energy, that's like, man, that's like what we try to hit. A lot of people chase content. We chase a feeling.
The album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, is also just kind of like, I take it as like, God, I'm gonna do what I'm called to do, and you're responsible for how it's received, where it goes, and I'm trusting that wherever it needs to hear it, see it, they will, and like, my work is done.
Right.
But I'm curious.
And we take it as kill 'em all and let God sort 'em out.
Competitively.
Yeah, competitively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I mean, and it is like sports, right? Because it's like I'm coming from a competition too. Competition of I want to kill the game, but I'm also coming, you know, I'm trying to be obedient to the call of my life. Those things, you know, we're 3 in 1. All of that has to work together. You know, some of your humanity, your spirituality, the way you think about things. I think what I do appreciate is that it's been buzzing for over a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to make this about me, but just to draw a parallel, it's like, I'm not putting a collection out till it's ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make something that transcends time. You know what I mean? That's good, whether it came out 2 years ago, whether it comes out 5 years from now. I'm just trying to, I want this to be what it was intended to be. How much of that, in terms of not feeling rushed or just making sure that it was right, how much of that went into it and
Yeah,
that
I'm
process?
just personally thankful for our fans, you know, and people that have followed the Clipse and been sticking with us all this time and following Pusha in his solo work. I think it's also a good perspective that the fans understand that this wasn't gonna happen. So the fact that it's happening is a gift.
They're gonna take it whatever, they can take it.
So it's not so much about, you know, how long it took. It's the fact that it, you know, Lord willing, it's coming out and we're gonna give it to the people. So, you know, it's a gift.
How would you describe like the sound?
Urgent.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Urgent. You know.
Now.
Yeah.
that's scary.
Sophisticated urgency. It's a deep dive on the perspective of the Clipse right now. A perspective on life and just how we view it. Perspective on the game, music, and how we feel about it. Also, just the idea of what hip hop means to us in a sense of like, man, this is a competitive game, and we actually live it. You know, we always try to show and showcase that, being fundamentalist, you know what I'm saying, with the word, and showing that this is timeless.
Yeah.
What we do is timeless.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy you say urgent, because it's like anticipation, right? Again, whether it happened a year ago or right now, it's still urgent. You know what I mean? Like the spirit of it doesn't change,
Right.
you know, and the
Yeah.
urgency in it is based on a different timing.
I think that's why we never rush.
Yeah.
Like, we never rush. We never make extra songs. It's because we know exactly what it is that we're making every time. So it's like, you know, you never hear throwaways. You never hear like, oh, what was this from? You know,
Yeah.
not in dealing with the Clipse
Right.
Yeah.
project
Right.
at all, ever. The point is, it's very intentional.
I was gonna say, you know your why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel
That's
the
right.
same way. Like I sit to do a collection and I know why I'm doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At a baseline.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say anything beyond
Right.
what
No fluff.
I feel convicted to say in this moment.
Right.
People need to understand that too. Like, that's a parallel in fashion and music, that if you know what it is that you're looking for, you won't be satisfied until you find it. You know what I'm saying? So we're not satisfied in the music until we find it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We won't be satisfied. You won't be satisfied until you actually find what it is and you execute. It takes a minute when you're an artist to execute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To make timeless.
Yeah.
When you're an artist.
When you're an
though.
artist.
When you're an
Yeah, yeah,
artist.
yeah.
When you're an artist. That's what, you know, and I think our fans have they grow impatient, but they definitely understand. Like, yo, we know what we're gonna get from y'all. We know what we're gonna get.
Yeah, and they don't want it unless
Yeah.
y'all know it's right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's, I don't,
Right.
I don't
They can
think it-
count on it.
They can count on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can
Facts.
count on what we do.
What we got here?
Man, this is a civil collection. We sold it in Paris or in Milan in November,
Okay.
but we're getting ready to shoot the campaign tomorrow. So we're going to market. It's coming out in a few weeks. But yeah, how'd you enjoy the Met, man?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
yeah, we got there super late.
I loved it, man. But you saw the performance and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was
Oh,
cool.
No, I thought it was crazy.
Yeah, your fit was insane.
Crazy. Thank you, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Thank you. That was a night.
of Black excellence, man. It was-
Yeah.
I was happy to be in that room, man.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all been doing this for a minute. Like, ever since y'all came out, I feel like, you know, fashion has just been like an extension of what you guys do. Is it just synonymously to you, like almost one and the same, just like an extension of the same conversation?
I would say so, man. When we think about like our favorite rap artists, it wasn't that they just always rap good.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like they
Are they fresh?
they was fresh. You know, they had the jewelry, they had the haircut, they had the, you know, the swag, whatever it was. So I feel like that's a criteria that we've always put in our, you know, in our brand book. You know.
In the playbook, in the
yeah,
notebook.
in the playbook. The people who just gravitated towards the music. Man, Nigo, Japanese streetwear, early 2000s.
Yeah.
He was just a music fan. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He was a music fan of the Neptunes, of the Clipse. Man, just really embraced us. So that was the, you know, that was our entrance way into like streetwear.
Yeah.
And from there, man, it's just, I think we ran with it and tried to evolve,
Yeah.
you know,
Just feel
throughout
like
the years.
I feel like it's just been a constant conversation.
Yeah. But it gotta be. It gotta be. If you're in the rap, it gotta be. Your fit gotta be part of the combo.
Man, 'cause it could also say a lot of other things that
Yeah.
take you out of the combo.
Yeah, it can take you out the combo.
Yeah. I love to rap because we haven't really rapped as much as we rap. Just curious, man, when you just like decided, hey, I'm cool on this for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, what was happening with you internally, spiritually, and then obviously the decision to come back and like, you know, you still having your piece within it. I was just, you know, never really asked you some of these questions, but I'd love to like,
Yeah, for me, it was just taking inventory of my life personally, and understanding that, you know, you have to look at your own self in the mirror, and you have to be accountable for the decisions that you make. At that point in time, I was just finding that I had to make a change in order to feel healthy and to feel whole, you know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of stuff going on around us. Friends were getting indicted, locked up, like things was just unraveling at a rapid pace. You know, I just had to take a step back, and I had to think about, you know, the things that I was saying and the things that I actually was glorifying. And I only speak for myself, you know? I speak for myself, and it was about me dealing with me. It wasn't about trying to evaluate others or, you know, my brother or people around, you know what I'm saying? I kept the focus on me, and I did what I had to do, and I'm much better for it. Yeah.
And how do you have your peace now within the game that you took a break from?
I have the peace that surpasses all human understanding, and it comes from God. It comes from the Holy Spirit. That's who gives me a peace that I never had before. And I know exactly where it comes from because it was absent from me. I know the difference between then and how I feel now. And there's such a liberty with knowing God and knowing that He's given me an arena. He's given me a space, and I just have to occupy that space. And fortunately for me, I get to occupy it with my brother, and we can still come together and still be creative and do, you know, what we do. And I also love the fact of how viable he has kept this movement in my absence, you know, and the level that he has taken it to. You have to understand, like, I was a hip-hop fanatic first. I introduced him to hip-hop, and now he has become of the artists that I loved and liked, you know, the Big Daddy Kanes, the Rakims, and, you know, Jay-Z and coming up. And to me, just to see my brother be top tier like that, it's a spectacle in my mind to watch. Like, it's beautiful.
Man, how does that feel to hear that from your brother? Do you share that often? Is that something you hear, or is it?
Oh man, I've told my brother plenty of times, you know, I feel like he's one of the best, you know.
But it's just all very real. Like, I learned all of this from my brother, all of it. Like, the passion. He taught me the intricacies of, you know, why rappers were corny, why they, you know, why rapper A was corny versus rapper B. You know, rapper A was way more popular, but he would tell me rapper B, but rapper B gonna be here.
Yeah.
You know, I got like all of these type of criterias. It was a real tutorial in watching him and just the diligence in writing. You know what I'm saying? And just being so passionate about the craft. So much so, I don't know how to do it any other way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pigeonholed. I watch guys create and talk about like not rapping and not writing and things like that. And it's like, man, without a pad and a pen and a clean sheet, and I mean, these are all things he was super anal about. Like, even as children, that has stuck the whole, anybody who knows. Like, even when I do features now, I write the feature, I do the feature, take the picture, send it to the artist. And like, yo, you got to, you know, they know it's done.
Yeah.
But it has to be that. And these are all his, this is all his schooling.
But that's all spiritual, right? It's the playbook, it's the notebook, it's what we base our life on, it's the word, right?
Right.
And it's like, this is the principle of the game, and I feel like understanding the principle, like, hey, this is what it's gotta be. This is the only way I can do it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I feel like I'm the same way. Like, I'll watch my peers, you know, they open in stores around the world, they doing fashion shows 3 and 4 times a year, and it's just like, no, this is your way, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's slow, it's steady, it's authentic to who you are, and this is on God's time.
That's the only way it's going to work.
Oh,
your
yeah.
way. You can't follow everybody else and what everybody else is doing. And people can see that. They can see when it's not you. You know what I'm saying?
And like you said, it's like both of us, I feel like we're more than anything, we're chasing peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Peace, alignment, peace with ourselves, peace with our work.
Right.
You know, I feel like you guys have like exemplified authenticity,
Appreciate
exemplified
it.
honesty.
Thank
You know what I mean? Like in a way that is super rare. Where was that conviction going into the first project? Was
First
it?
album?
Yeah, the first album.
man.
Was it the same as it is today? You know what I
I
mean?
would say
Like, 'cause
we've grown in it, matured in it, you know, but in the beginning, you know, just loving hip hop like Pusha was telling you, and as much as we were into it, and then to have an outlet, be it the Neptunes, you know, and you know, taking trips to New York and shopping your music and seeing that all it really takes or took was effort, and then it comes into fruition. Like, you know, that hunger was just crazy at that time. You know what I'm saying? And over the years, you know, just growing with it, getting into it, and just doing it, and it becoming routine. But you still have that excitement when you have that new bar or that bar that you know, rocked your world, and you know what it's gonna do when the fans hear it. You know, you still have those moments or whatever. So, and it's a lot of those moments on this album. So what made you go with the fear of God?
Man, the fear of God, man. So many levels to that, man. You know, I just got this conviction around like fear of God and like understanding a true fear around the layers and darkness to Him, and then the peace in knowing Him, this reverence for who He is, and then obviously, you know, fear of God too.
Yes, sir.
Was the Let Us Pray. This track, My God, on there, and just the way that was just happened to be piercing the world at the same time. You know what I mean? I just felt like culturally, people would understand it spiritually. It's a clear understanding.
Right.
And then at the very least, it just feels like it's a conversation starter. It's something that could be left, you know, up to interpretation, right? Similar to your music, it's just kind of like, but that's, to me, that's the ultimate conversation. So just felt like the best name.
Well, the word says the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. So
Yep,
Oh,
you
this
know
is
that.
mean.
it's what it is.
Exactly. You guys have always had this like piercing sound, and I think it's like no part of the art has gone like
You
unconsidered.
gotta give a lot of that, you know, to the Neptunes and their groundbreaking sound. You know, Chad and Pharrell, even when they came out, you know, they just interrupted radio altogether. We were fortunate enough to be down with that whole entire movement.
And I think you know, you got to give a lot of that credit to our environment as well. Being from Virginia, we were sitting on the bench watching the game. You know, watching the game of New York, watching the game of LA, watching the game
South.
of, you know, the South, the dirty South.
Yeah.
You know, Virginia, people try to say Virginia ain't the South. Virginia's the South, man. But, you know, the dirty, dirty South. Like, we just got to watch the game from so many different places. And I think that had a lot to do with the sound. You know, being different and having that piercing sound.
And the fact that it's a military town.
Yeah.
You know,
that too.
so people coming from everywhere with their own influences of music.
Yeah.
You know, we were privy to all of that.
Yeah, and I think like you can only be in it to understand the beauty in it, right? To someone like me that just visited one time, it's like a lot happening. It's like people come to LA and it's like, man, no swag out here. I'm like, oh, you don't see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you create a clothing line and define it. You know, it's effortless, it's easy, it's elegant, it's all these things. And I think that's what the sound, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're looking at all this, no, this is what it is. And it's like you almost like defined it, right? Because prior to that, it hadn't really been defined in within our culture, right?
Yeah.
And I think you guys like put it on the map and like have just been in a class of your own, like ever since. But God, urgency, man, I'm pumped on that.
That was the word in the studio, urgency. Like, and finding urgency every time. We recorded this whole project at the Louis Vuitton headquarters in Paris.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so like,
Oh, wow.
we would like, basically just took the, where they would, you know, sketch and sew and
Yeah.
and
So just like
yeah, we
like different levels of inspiration.
yeah.
Right?
So we basically, you know, took over that area, and we just started creating, man. But like it was just energy, the energy of like the music and the energy of the clothes actually being made, and it made for a very critical project. Like we were critiquing everything around us. Everything around us was being critiqued at all times.
Wow.
So I think it worked, and I think that urgency was found within that, knowing that there was always an opinion, like you were in a house full of opinions.
Yeah.
I think when you're actually working with certain artists, that keeps that spark of like newness, and when you first get into the game, isms, you know what I'm saying? Depending on who that person is. And I feel like that's what happened with all of our features, man. I'm running down the track list in my head right now, but we got John Legend, Tyler the Creator, Nas,
Oh, wow.
Kendrick Lamar,
Stove God.
Stove God, The Dream, Lava, of course, Re-Up Gang, Forever. Everything produced by Pharrell. I think we got a couple verses from Pharrell too.
Yeah, we got some verses
Yeah.
from Pharrell. Yeah.
Here we got a Kendrick feature coming on here.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about how it came together? I don't know if you could talk to the track tone or direction or
For
like.
sure. I mean, you know, Clipse and Kendrick together, that speaks lyricism. Like in any time, I don't think people want anything other than that. You know, it was a situation where the traffic of people just coming in and out of the studio, and it happened to be a person from Kendrick's camp who was like in the studio, and we let his folks hear the album, and he called him and was like, listen, you need to get on this. And mind you, at this particular time, he was just super busy.
Yeah.
And man, I sent them songs over. He just called back laughing, like, oh man.
Oh, really?
He was like, okay,
That's
I gotta
over.
do it. Don't worry about it. He was like, yo, I wanna do two. And the idea of right place, right time makes everything happen, and having the actual product. And it's music, so you can get caught up in the moment. Like you can
Yeah.
catch people up in the moment.
Yeah.
With something polarizing. And I feel like that was one of those moments for us.
Yeah, this is just some of the stuff that we saw just getting styled out, like trying to find the vibe. So we spend like, 2 days like styling out
Yeah.
and then trying to find like a way for this. This was a lookbook that we showed in Milan, and then how do we like kind of like pour some new life into it as we,
Yeah.
talking about the art. I mean, I'm just curious, what is this album cover? What's the
Man,
inspiration?
you
What can
know.
we expect?
We reached out to Cause, man. We had seen some things he was working on, before release. The synergy of like Clipse and Cause and just that whole world. We thought it would be a good way to have a full circle moment.
Continue that.
Yeah, to continue that. I mean,
Does it feel urgent?
yeah.
The cover?
Yeah, it definitely feels urgent. Definitely feels urgent. And at the same time, it's like, I think he understands the group, man. He definitely understands the group. And I think our fans are gonna understand us, collectively together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you already have like collaborations in the works and like fashion pieces or like souls and all that stuff sorted out?
Yeah, we got bundles with Verdi, bundles with Cause, bundles with Tremaine.
Oh yeah, I saw some of the Tremaine stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must have missed your text because I didn't get the.
Oh, I don't know how.
Oh man.
Nah.
I'm
Oh,
kidding.
nah.
A little plug, since we're talking about it,
Never too late.
I can really get down with
No,
this.
but we
man.
got and more. Adidas as well, Carhartt as well.
Yeah.
Adidas, Carhartt,
Oh, nice.
A lot of just different collabs, and the collabs, they're just touch points for the Clipse specifically. Like,
Yeah.
you can show, we're basically just showing the history and lineage.
rounds it.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you know, all these different brands that we've been a part of.
Yeah, that's hard, man. It makes sense now, like, when Pharrell did his first show and the music was there, it all felt the same. So to know now it's coming from, like, the same room
Yeah.
Right.
is,
Yeah.
like, that's insane.
I'm
And-
still tripping off of, you know, walking a runway in Paris and your song playing, you know. For that to come about, I mean, you could, like you say, you could sense the cohesiveness of recording there and then being part of that project and being able to, you know, model clothes and hair, like, that's way too much for anyone to be doing.
And I think you can tell, even in us walking the runway and what we were wearing at the time, it was like kind of the graffiti trench,
Yeah.
graffiti bomber.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing else to play but chains and whips.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and mind you, you know, all of these records are being done on the spot. At that point in time, once we made it, we was like, oh, this has to go on the show. This has to go on the show.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, independent of an album or...
right,
like,
yeah.
independent of whatever else is
That's why it's
happening.
like,
Right,
there's
right.
no
This
waiting
is-
on anything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is the energy, this is what's being made, these energies match, and it had to come out right then and there. For us, it was all worth it.
Oh, yeah.
It was all worth it. It's like, oh, like, what, were we not gonna walk across that bridge in those fits? Having like the first time and having
Yeah.
everybody like look at us and
Yeah.
and then they hear the song and they like,
Yeah.
the faces,
Oh,
the
my
expressions,
God.
like,
Yeah,
what?
I'll never forget that
Come
moment.
on, man. Like, those are moments that we, you know,
You gotta catch those when they come.
yeah. And you just gotta treasure them, man.
Yeah,
You got to.
because I feel like I get that in my world too, where I feel like it's just God saying like, hey, y'all on the right track.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It's
yeah.
like, I got you.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
it's like,
definitely.
it's just a reminder, like, hey,
Right. You know, you're supposed to be.
when all
Yeah.
these things are aligning and it can only be him that places all these things outside of what you anticipated, and you just go with it, and God's like, see, I got you. You know what I mean? I got you.
I get it.
And it's the encouragement from that moment that says, we are moving in a, you know what I mean?
going.
You may have had a different idea for this,
Yeah.
you know?
He gives you little glimpses just to let you know you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Sometimes it seems like it may get a little quiet, but then he'll give you a moment that you know you're exactly where you're supposed to be. We were talking about my departure earlier from the game and the fact that I was available in serving my mother all that time, that, I wasn't with my brother, rapping. Even that let me know I was exactly where I was supposed to be, even though that wasn't the intent, but it couldn't have been more perfect, you know what I'm saying? Because my mother needed me at that time to physically be there. So it's like, little telltale signs along the way that he lets you know you where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and there's nothing like the power of feeling him. It's like, it could be just one time, and it's strong enough to keep you,
It'll hold you. Yeah.
like, this is where I gotta be. There's nothing else I've ever felt.
Yeah.
You know, the
yeah.
power.
You know what it is.
When
Yeah.
when it's his spirit working and you're in an alignment with him, and I've done the work.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just gotta it's up to the spirit to show up. You know what I mean? It's like God sort him out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's like
Yeah.
I've done the work. I put everything into it, and
It's the whole faith without works is dead. You
Yeah.
know, you still gotta work. You do the work and you give him something to bless, and he'll do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, thanks for letting me sit down with y'all, man.
No, man, thank you. It
This
was
is
great.
this is amazing, man.
Yeah.
Like, beyond just being a fan and having a relationship with you for a while, and knowing you from afar, bro. I'm just like, I couldn't be more excited and happy for you as men. And as
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
You
bro.
know what I'm saying? Like, just continue to stay in alignment, because it's like
Yes,
it's
sir.
only getting bigger and better and more honest and more real, and like and we need it. So
We got you.
Got it.
We got you.
cool.
Right.
Yep.
All right, man.
Love, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
know
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Baseball autograph.